Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Up next, the 12 Kyle podcast.
Fans rushing the field or the court after a victory. One of the dumbest things that you can do in sports. Not only is it dumb, but you could really hurt the people who are playing. And it only happens in college sports. You've sat and watched your team win or at least participate in this game for 3 hours. And then when the game ends, you think it's cool to rush the field. That is the dumbest thing ever. If you are an athlete and you're on that field and your team loses, and then all of a sudden on your way to the locker room, you're bombarded with fans, it's not going to be pretty. If I lost the game on a last second field goal and I got some young punk with a cell phone in my face, I might hit him with my helmet. Sometimes emotions can get the best of you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. Shout out to those of you who are watching on YouTube as well as Spotify. Man, check this out. All right. I want to talk about on this episode some of the dumbest things that I see in sports. Now, of course, this is all my opinion, but I came to this idea and this concept because at the time of this recording, we just witnessed the Super Bowl game between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Seattle kicked the crap out of the Patriots and won the game. Game really wasn't that competitive, but I thought it was a decent game. It wasn't as competitive as the NFC Championship game, but that's beside the point. But one of the dumbest things that happened didn't even happen during the game. As many of you know, during the halftime show, there was a performance by a young man by the name of Bad Bunny, not to be confused with the guy who my dad calls Big Bunny. So Bad Bunny performs, and Bad Bunny, if you're not aware, Bad Bunny is one of probably the most streamed artists in the world, right? He did a great halftime performance, and the entire performance was in Spanish. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but I did take Spanish in 9th and 10th grade. Now, of course, that was many, many years ago. And so I understand Spanish, but you'd have to speak it very slowly for me to understand in a true conversation. Here's the thing. I've seen Bad Bunny's performance at the Super Bowl at least 4 times now. And it is phenomenal. He's got some jams and he really put on a great show. And the thing is, I can't tell you that I'm a Bad Bunny fan. Prior to the Super Bowl, I probably have heard maybe 3 of his songs, right? But I know a jam when I hear one. And here's the thing that I want to impress upon you. You don't have to necessarily understand Spanish to have enjoyed that performance. I heard a lot of dumbass people commenting about, oh, well, he should have performed in English. Why is he on the TV? I'm not going to watch this. Oh, yeah, you did. Go look at the numbers. The numbers suggest otherwise. There was a whole bunch of people who said, I'm not going to watch Bad Bunny's performance. All of you are liars because you tuned in. You know why? You know how I know? Because the numbers say that you did. And that's fine. I thought it was a great performance. And here's the thing that I want to also share with you. If you did not want to see the performance, you could have gone and refreshed your drink. You could have went and gotten something to eat. You could have taken a nap because the halftime show at the Super Bowl is about 30 minutes long. So you got plenty of time to go run and get some beer. You got time to go get some more food. You got time to paint your toenails if you like. But what you didn't need to do is spew your dumbass opinion all across Al Gore's internet. And I saw a lot of that. And so that's part of the dumbest things I think in sports. Complaining about the Super Bowl halftime show. We saw this a couple of years ago with my man Kendrick Lamar. People were upset, and people like Lil Wayne, who thought he was supposed to perform because the game was being played in his hometown. Hey, Lil Wayne, Kendrick's a better performer than you. It is what it is. They asked him. There's a reason why they didn't ask you, but that's beside the point. Um, but again, complaining about the Super Bowl halftime show is pretty dumb, is a pretty dumb thing in sports because you have the ability to either watch it or turn it off. It's your choice. I even heard that there was some type of alternate showing of some other concert or something with Kid Rock or somebody. And, that was for this cross section of people who I won't name. You know who they are. And I heard that was downright terrible. And what's interesting is come that Monday morning after the Super Bowl, there were a lot of people who said that they weren't going to watch and they were going to watch this alternative concert, and they didn't. They watched Bad Bunny. And again, shout out to Bad Bunny. I thought he put on a great performance. I've seen it a couple of times. Again, I don't have to necessarily be able to speak Spanish to understand that he was up there jamming. And he's a great showman. He played to the camera, and it came off damn near flawless. I would love to see the behind the scenes action of the Super Bowl. I'm sure that they're going to put out a documentary at some point, probably in the near future. Nonetheless, I said all that to say this. I've compiled a list, no particular order. That, my friends, is on the list, complaining about the Super Bowl halftime show. So let me give you the rest of the list. And these are in no particular order. Number 2, fans rushing the field or the court after a victory. One of the dumbest things that you can do in sports. Not only is it dumb, but you could really hurt yourself or the people who are playing. I'm not necessarily worried about you, Mr. Idiot, jumping from the stands 10 feet down onto the football field. But I am concerned about the fact that somebody could have snuck a weapon or a knife into the arena. Because if we're being honest, security at stadiums isn't the most, it isn't the greatest of security that you may think of. And so there could be a scenario, and I don't want to speak this into existence, but there very well could be a scenario where someone, I don't know, sneaks a knife into a stadium and decides in an overzealous way because their team beat the other team that they're going to stab the quarterback from the opposing team. Stranger things have happened. Again, I don't want to speak that into existence, but just rushing the field is just dumb because here's the thing. And it only happens in college sports because the people who go to NBA games and go to NFL games, they know better. But let's say you go to a college football game and your team is at home and they win on a last second field goal. You've sat and watched your team win or at least participate in this game for 3 hours. And you sat probably in the cold or the heat. And then when the game ends, you think it's cool to rush the field. That is the dumbest thing ever. And let me share this with you, because if you are an athlete and you're on that field and your team loses, and then all of a sudden on your way to the locker room, you're bombarded with fans, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. Someone really could get hurt. And trust me, if I lost the game on a last second field goal and I got some young punk with a cell phone in my face, gyrating or whatever, I might hit him with my helmet. Sometimes emotions can get the best of you. And like I said, that storming the field or the court only happens in college athletics. It doesn't happen in the pros. But if you sit in the stands for 2 or 3 hours, just because your team won doesn't mean that you should rush the field or rush the court. I've never seen it. I've never seen a field get rushed in baseball. So I don't know that it happens in college baseball, but college football and college basketball happens all the time, way too much. The NCAA has begun to fine schools for doing it, but I don't think that's enough. I think it's something dumb that happens in sports, and it really should stop. Number 3, having cheerleaders at pro sports games. Now, I know that cheerleaders are a thing in college. I know because I played college football at South Carolina State University. Shout out to my Bulldogs, Black College National Champions right now as we speak. Also, I dated a young lady who was a cheerleader, and we were married 25 years later. But cheerleaders at pro games, more specifically because I don't think they're cheerleaders at NBA games. I know for a fact that they're cheerleaders at NFL games. Waste of time. Not because they're not needed, but there's so much going on at an NFL game, and there's so much going on and around an NFL sideline. Nobody pays attention to the cheerleaders. Now, if you're of a certain age, you probably remember like the world famous Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. As much as I hate the Cowboys, I mean, they had some nice cheerleaders for what it's worth. And they were always pretty and they were always in sync. But you don't go to the game to watch the cheerleaders. You don't hear them cheer at the game if you're at the game. And the sad thing is that the cheerleaders are probably the least paid people who are employed for these teams. They're janitors that probably make more than cheerleaders do. Not blind, look it up. So cheerleaders at pro football games, pro basketball games, very dumb thing to do in sports. I mean, just employing scantily clad women to come out there and cheer when nobody's paying them any attention, it's not really a good look. Number 4. Again, these are no particular order. Baseball's unwritten rules. Baseball has all of these real funky, quote unquote, unwritten rules. Like, you're not supposed to bunt if a guy's throwing a no-hitter. Well, why not? The objective as a batter is to get on base. It doesn't matter if you bunt the ball. It doesn't matter if you half swing. The objective is to get a hit. And if a guy is throwing a no-hitter, you want to make sure that you get a hit. But it's an unwritten rule in baseball. You don't bunt when someone's throwing a no-hitter. If you're on a team with a guy who's throwing a no-hitter, you don't talk to him because it's bad luck. Why? I mean, it's just dumb. Baseball's got a lot of dumb, unwritten rules. You're not supposed to admire your home run, meaning that if you hit a home run, you're not supposed to stand at the plate and just watch it fly out of the ballpark. And flipping your bat. Flipping your bat, you're not supposed to flip the bat, which I think is kind of relaxed now. You see more and more guys, particularly in Major League Baseball, who flip their bats. I'm a baseball fan. I'm not one of those purists who thinks that you can't do that. I'm perfectly fine with that because trust me, if you flip your bat against my team, we're gonna hit home runs. We're gonna flip our bats against your team too. So I mean, it's all good. But yeah, I think that was because baseball established these very crazy unwritten rules when baseball felt and looked a certain way. And what I will tell you now is that baseball does not feel, nor does it look the way that it used to. Another dumb thing in sports. Premature touchdown celebrations. That is very dumb. And for me, it happens way too much. And what I mean by that is, here's the example. Quarterback drops back to pass. He throws the ball to a receiver. He catches it. The defensive back falls down. The receiver is running toward the end zone. as he approaches the end zone, instead of going across the goal line, celebrating, throwing his hands in the air, wave him like you just don't care, or tossing the ball to the referee, the receiver drops the ball before he crosses the goal line. Now, if you're familiar with football, it's not a touchdown unless the ball crosses the plane of the goal line. Shout out to Prairie View. My bad, Jay. My bad. But yeah, it's not a touchdown until the ball crosses the goal line. Well, if you drop the ball never crosses the goal line. That is one of the dumbest things that you could ever do in football. And we see it every single year. We'll see it in the NFL. We'll see it in college football. We see it in high school football. Sometimes you don't see it as much in high school football because there's not cameras that catch it. But just why do you drop the ball? There's no need to drop the ball. Do yourself a favor, do your team a favor, cross the goal line, get into the end zone, hand the ball to the referee. Act like you've been there. I'm not against people celebrating. Celebrate to your heart's content. But do not drop the ball before you cross the goal line. That is the dumbest thing that happens in sports. Premature TD celebration. And speaking of celebrations, let me add a caveat to that. Sidebar real quick. Celebrating when you're down by like 30 points, not a good look. That's very dumb in sports as well. I mean, like, you're down by 35 points and you dunk on somebody and you're yelling. What you yelling for? You're down by 35 points. Or you shoot a three and you start gyrating and shaking like you're Steph Curry. You're down by 30. Or you get a sack and you do a little dance on the football field and you're down by 25 points with 2 minutes left in the game. Very dumb. Very dumb. What else? Another thing that's very stupid and very dumb in sports is the coverage of the NFL Combine. Now, if you're not familiar with the NFL Combine, it is basically a dress rehearsal for players. Players are trotted out in their T-shirts and shorts and cleats, and they run the 40-yard dash. They run cone drills. Based on their position, they will run and catch passes, or they will do other drills, and they lift weights. And this has become a national TV event. It is pointless. It is a glorified job interview. And unfortunately, football fans, because they crave this stuff so much, they tune in. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I didn't tune in at one point in time in my life. There's no way in the world that I'm sitting there watching 2 minutes of the NFL Combine. It's just not worth it to me. Pointless and very dumb in sports. Again, it's a glorified job interview. Very, very dumb. The next thing I have to talk about, mock drafts. Mock drafts are one of the dumbest things in sports. And the reason why I say that is because a mock draft is when you may have a draft coming up for Major League Baseball, a draft coming up for the NBA draft, or the NFL draft. And what happens is these quote unquote analysts come up with this list of people who are where they think these young men or young women are going to get drafted. And this is what you call a mock draft. So let's say San Antonio has the first pick and Denver has the second pick and Utah has the third pick. They will base players based on what those three teams need, and they'll put them on a list. And the reason why I say mock drafts are dumb and not needed is because fans hang on to mock drafts. They read them, they over obsess with them, and they really, really think that they're true. And so what happens is you get around to the draft, and because your team is drafting 15th and you're the Miami Dolphins and you need a left tackle, and all the mock drafts had you drafting Sean Brown from Minnesota, who's the best left tackle in the game, and you draft a quarterback, Jeremy Pruitt from Nebraska, and you don't need a quarterback, now all the fans are up in arms because we quote unquote wasted a draft pick on somebody who wasn't on our draft board. You don't know what these teams are drafting or what the interview process was like or anything else. Mock drafts are silly. I'm really surprised that people put a lot of stock in them because they are there to feed the frenzy of the offseason. Nothing more, nothing less. Another dumb thing that happens in sports, vacating victories. What I mean by that was at some point in time, and I don't necessarily know that it happens that often now, but at one point in time, particularly in college athletics, teams would get into trouble, right? And so when they would get into trouble, the way that the governing body of college athletics, the NCAA, would punish them would be to take away their victories. And I'm using air quotes here. Take away their victories. You can't take away someone's victories because the thing is, we saw them win. Like, I remember the famous Fab Five from Michigan. They got into some trouble. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the trouble that they got into, but the NCAA said, "Hey, we're going to take away. You're going to vacate those victories. You really didn't win the Big Ten that year." Oh, yes, you did, because I saw Fab Five blow out Indiana. I saw them blow out Purdue. I saw them kick Michigan State's ass. They won the Big Ten. So you can take away the victories. You can say, okay, we're going to take down the banners. We're going to act as if you didn't exist. The problem is, folks, we know that the Fab Five existed. So you can't vacate a victory. You just like I remember when Reggie Bush got into trouble and they took away his Heisman. And it's ironic that they took away his Heisman for him receiving improper benefits or money, if you will. And that's what everybody does now. But that's another story for another day. But you can't take away the fact that Reggie Bush was the Heisman Trophy winner. You can physically take away his Heisman, but we saw him ball out on the field. Another dumb thing in sports, you can't just take stuff away. Here's another dumb thing that happens in sports. Racist sports chants. More specifically, the tomahawk chop. Now, I say this as a fan of Florida State. Florida State, at football games, at basketball games, at baseball games, if there's a band playing, they will start the chant and they will do the tomahawk chop. Now, from what I understand, they've got some type of permission, and the Native Americans who were involved with Florida State are totally cool with this. However, there's a team that plays in Cobb County in Atlanta, Georgia. Not in Atlanta, Georgia. They're outside of Atlanta. The Marietta the Marietta Braves. You may know them as the Atlanta Braves. They participate, and when their team is down or they're trying to rally, they will play the music and they will do the tomahawk chop. And it goes like this. And it's emulating the idea of a Native American and a Native American chant. The tomahawk chop is about as racist as you can be. It would be the equivalent of a whole stadium full of white people singing the N-word. To me, I don't get down like that. I don't participate in it. I don't go to Braves games. I'm not a Braves fan. I'm a Yankees fan. But that is about as racist as it can be. And they've gone back and forth and said, oh, well, it's not meant to be a racist chant. It's meant to be this. It's meant to be that. You can dress it up how you wanted to dress it up. You can say, well, we got permission from, the Obubu tribe, and the Obubu tribe is in battle with the Shawnee tribe. It doesn't matter. That's a racist chant. So racist to the point where in Major League Baseball, the team from Cleveland used to be known as the Cleveland Indians. And of course, they changed their name to the Cleveland Guardians. Um, and you had, the team from Washington, used to be the Redskins, are now the Washington Commanders or Commandos, as I call them. Yeah, but I mean, so, these sports have been racist and have used racist symbols. And I think the tomahawk chop is a racist chant. Debate your mama. What else? Dumb things in sports. If you follow track, in track, you can run your race. Let's say you run the 100 meter, and they will say, okay, well, he ran the 100 meter in 10.5 seconds. Wind aided. What does wind aided mean? Wind aided means that they were running, and as they were running, there was a slight breeze behind them. So your 10.5 may or may not be a record because you were aided by the wind. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Listen, you can't control how much wind there is in a particular area wherever you are in America or wherever you are in any country. It doesn't work like that, right? So, I mean, like, imagine, your favorite kicker on your NFL team kicking a 63-yard game-winning field goal. Oh, he kicked the 63-yarder wind aided. You see how dumb that sounds? Doesn't make any sense. So no, I don't like the idea, and I've never liked the idea of adding wind aided to keep someone from getting a record. Because if I run the 100-meter dash in 9.2 seconds, wind aided, the wind didn't help me. Yeah, I'm sorry. You'd have to get some type of scientist, some type of egghead, some type of analyst to convince me otherwise. The wind doesn't help you because here's the thing. Even if there's a slight wind pushing at my back as I'm running forward, there's wind pushing in my face. Just dumb. Just plain dumb. Another dumb thing that I might catch some flack for this, but I don't care because, it's whatever. I think it's dumb in sports to make people line up to shake hands after the game ends. You see it in college basketball all the time. And they're very particular about it because in college basketball, both men and the women, they have to, after the game ends, they have to line up and go across and right in front of the score say, I think they do it in high school too as well. And they have to shake hands. I'm all about sportsmanship. I want people to be, down with having good sportsmanship. I think you should respect your opponent at all times. Disrespect is never tolerated. That being said, telling me that I have to shake someone's hand and you're making me stand in a line, because here's the thing. I'm going to shake my opponent's hands regardless of what happens. Win, lose, or draw. That's just me. But making me get in line to do it, to me, that's just corny. And I think it's the people who make that rule, I don't think understand how sports are. And again, it's a very emotional type of time. If you lose on a last second buzzer shot, you're not gonna you're gonna be in tears. You're gonna be hurting. You're not gonna want to stand and shake somebody's hand like, man, good game, man, good game. No, you're not. Meet me in the tunnel after the game, after I've gone to the locker room and cried my eyes out. It's just dumb. I never understood it, never liked it. I like how football is, game is over. We can shake hands. We don't have to shake hands. Or we can shake hands or, go our separate ways. It's not something that you have to do. Coaches tend to go shake each other's hands after the game. Shout out Eddie Robinson. That's the homie. If you know, you know. But no, I'm not. I'm not with all of that shaking of the hands. Just don't make me do it. If we do it, if you do it on your own accord, cool. But don't make me do it. That's whack to me. Okay, last one. This is number 12. And I could have led with this, but again, these are no particular order. one of the dumbest things in sports is the NBA slam dunk contest. It's over. It's been over for a long time. And it's not that we don't have people who are capable of doing dunks. The reality is that if we're being honest, there's probably not too many dunks in a slam dunk contest that you're going to see that you haven't seen. What we're seeing is different versions of the dunk. I've made it a point to not watch the slam dunk contest All-Star Weekend because I found myself watching and then complaining. And I was like, well, hey, if you don't watch it, then you you don't even have to complain. And it's just not good. And now you've got people dunking who don't even really have the skill set, it appears, to dunk in the way that you would want to. And, people bristle at the idea of bringing outside talent in, meaning you got these street ballers who put up these YouTube videos and they're doing all these crazy dunks. And it looks good, but I mean, if we're being honest, how do I know that you're going to get this dunk off? And even though the dunk is crazy, how do I know that you're going to be able to get this dunk off? Given the fact that you put it on YouTube, maybe you tried it 20 times before you got it to go down once. But the NBA should definitely get rid of the dunk contest. It's just not there anymore. And again, I remember, and yeah, of course I saw Jordan and Dominique, and I saw Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon a couple of years ago, and I saw all the dunkers in between. And I saw some great dunk contests. The thing that I'll say that's interesting is, like, I remember after Jordan stole the dunk contest from Dominique Wilkins in '88, they asked him in '89 if he was going to get back in the dunk contest, and he was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. And they were like, why? He said basically, like, the expectations exceed what I can do. He's like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do until I'm in the air, which I could believe because Jordan's the GOAT. But the thing about that is, once you take off from the free throw line, I mean, like, what's next? They want you to take off from the 3-point line? So you want to attach a rocket to your leg? I mean, like, it's not realistic. And I think, like, Jordan was on point with that. Now, again, we saw a great dunk contest from Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon a few years ago. How long? Has it been 10 years? It may have been 10 years ago. I'm not even sure. The thing about that is, and it's not to say that, I mean, like, that dunk contest was crazy. We saw some great, and all of the dunks, if you go back and watch it, all of those dunks are new dunks. And I'm not telling you that there's not anybody out there who is incapable of making a brand new dunk that we haven't seen before. I've been on YouTube, I've been on Facebook, and I've seen dunks that we haven't seen before. I just don't know that NBA players are going to do it. And I'll be honest, the money to do it isn't that big for players to do it. And, and for some strange reason, LeBron's name always comes up in the idea of him not dunking in the dunk contest. Y'all got to let that go. LeBron, listen, LeBron is like 42 years old. He's not getting in a dunk contest. And truth be told, LeBron is an in-game dunker. He's not a dunk contest dunker. So I don't even know how he would have fared, even in his prime, in a dunk contest. But I said all that to say this. In conclusion, there are some very dumb things in sports. As a sports fan, I think we have an obligation to hold these people accountable. We have an obligation to voice our opinion. I just voiced mine. Those are 12 dumb things that I would like to see eliminated in sports. You tell me yours. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday. Also, don't forget about the Rap Soul Podcast. That is my music podcast. It's where we talk about music and artists from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s when it comes to rap, hip-hop, soul, and R&B. Also, we have merch. Check out the merch section of this episode. Click the description box, and that way you can buy merch. You can buy 12 Kyle Podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle Podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the 12 Kyle Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle Podcast in their life. Every listen, every download, and every share helps us grow. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle Podcast community. We appreciate your support. We will catch you next time. 5,000.